Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Distinctive Women interview series. Here with us today, we have Michèle Soregaroli from Transformation Catalyst. Welcome, Michèle.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And we are so thrilled to have you with us. To start things off, I would love you to tell everybody about yourself. Who is Michèle?
Oh, that's a complicated answer. I'll give you some highlights. How about that? So Michèle, as a young woman, grew up in a very entrepreneurial setting, grew up with that experience of entrepreneurialism from a very young age, actually, in my family, as well as from my own experience. My brother and I started our first business when he was, I think, 14 and I was 16 or 17, somewhere in that neighborhood, might have been a bit younger. But we started out that way. And so I've been in this world ever since. As I mentioned, I have a younger brother. He drove me nuts for the better part of our youth. And I grew to absolutely adore him sometime in my mid-20s. And we have a great relationship now. He lives locally and nearby as well. A little bit more about me. I just love my family. I love and treasure our family time. And sometimes, much to my adult children's chagrin, they're like, more family time, Mom. I'm like, yeah, more family time. So that's something that has always been a big part of how we've built our business. And the role of family and blending business and family together has always been really, really important to both Brian and I. We work together, as you are going to discover if you don't know already that. And I think when I think about who am I as a business owner and woman, I think about the things that most inspire me. And I tried to think about that fairly thoroughly. And I was like, what is it that really inspires me? And what I came up with was this blend of deep compassion and care for the human experience combined with big potential. When there's this stuff that's out there that's big impact and it's focused on making the human experience better from a connection perspective and just really honoring the human, I just love that stuff. So here I find myself working in that as well today, because I think that the reason that's important to me is when people are supported and feel safe, I just think remarkable things happen. So that's
Absolutely.
A little bit about me. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Well, thank you, Michèle. And why don't you tell us, I think this is probably where you're going to introduce Brian to the conversation as well. Why don't you tell us about your business, Transformation Catalyst?
Yeah, thank you. So Brian and I we met in university. We were good friends for about 7 or 8 years. We then started dating and we got married. So we have been married coming up on 25 years this year. And when we first got married, we always talked about working together. Now, Brian was an environmental consultant, so his expertise was very much in the technical sciences, if you will. And I was at the time involved in financial services. And so we really didn't see any potential crossover. But nonetheless, we set this, dream or objective, if you will. We didn't really see how it would come together, but in 2007 it did. So I had started a coaching practice back in 2004, and in 2007 it became clear that we had children at the time. Brian was doing far too much traveling, and again, we talked about family time. He was never home. And so we decided to make a fundamental shift in how we were living, basically. And he quit doing what he was doing and joined my business at the time. We built this business together. Since 2007, we have been Transformation Catalyst. And since that time, we have been focused on working with entrepreneurs almost exclusively, and those who are in control of their income. So we tend to work with those who have the vision and control the strategy. We like to work with private companies. I like to say we like to work with speedboats, not cruise boats. So those who can move fast and change fast and be dynamic, and where their income really makes a big difference to them and to their teams and to their communities, where they're not slowed down by red tape or too much too many chefs in the kitchen, so to speak, getting in the way. So that's where we've tended to focus. And today we work with expertise around value propositions, competitive positioning, and at its core, differentiation for these entrepreneurs. Almost all of them are in professional services. So that's what we do.
Beautiful. And I know firsthand that working with family can be one of the most challenging things. It can also be one of your proudest moments in business. So on that note, I'm not sure if that's part of your next comment or not, but why don't you tell us about some of the most challenging parts of your career and what are some of your proudest moments?
Thanks. So the challenging thing, I gave this question a fair bit of thought. And I think ultimately the greatest challenges have always presented themselves when there's an up level or a growth opportunity. That professional and personal development where you're entering new territory. Anytime, I always laugh about it, but it's when the three brains, right? The reptilian brain, the limbic system, and your neocortex. When those three brains are in harmony, things are wonderful. When those three brains are in conflict, it's really difficult. So the biggest challenge that I've always faced is stepping into that courage when the three brains are out of sync. And stepping into it and doing things anyway. So I would say that's always been the biggest challenge. And after we can deal with that, then on the flip side of that, on the other side of that is also where my proudest moments come from. It's when, you can step into the fear and do something that you were really, really afraid of for whatever reason or nervous about. And on the other side, you're thinking, wow, I did it. And for me, that's always been, I don't have the proudest moment per se, but I have lots of moments where I kind of give myself on the pat on the back and I kind of go, you know what, that was really scary. Good for you.
Yeah.
So those are things that I really honor and it's all part of the entrepreneurial journey. And I think that's why when I say my greatest challenge and my greatest moments of pride, personal pride, if you will, I deeply respect the journey of the entrepreneur. I know how difficult it is. I've been an entrepreneur in various settings in my lifetime. And I honor the courage that we have in the heroes in our community who put everything on the line and put all of those things out there, be vulnerable and take courageous steps. And I just think it's such a privilege to be in service of those people.
Yeah. And speaking of entrepreneurs, what advice would you offer to the next generation of entrepreneurs?
Two pieces. First one is get into action and stay in action as much as possible. So get into action as soon as you can and stay in action as much as you can. That would be the first thing. I think one of the things that I see that stalls it is, having hesitation, whether it's around fear or doubt or not ready yet or whatever it is. And that just really slows down entrepreneurial success. So action's a big one. Get in action as fast as you can and stay in action as often as you can. And the other one that is, I think, even more important is never, ever, ever compromise on your values, your integrity, and what's important to you. Like ever. That kind of strength, if you can hold that true through any career that you have, entrepreneurial or otherwise, it will carry you far and you'll always have it to lean on at the hard times and the good times, and you'll never have any regret around that.
Yeah, I think that is wonderful advice, Michelle. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. I would encourage everyone to check out Michelle's profile on our website, distinctivewomenmagazine.com. On there, you will see direct links to Michelle's website and contact details as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you, Ashley. It's been a privilege as always and delightful to see you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye for now.